Chapter 9 Shadow Goes to Lunch. 3 flights up in one of the old but tony buildings of Maiden Lane, there was a place I had lunched once with a lover who worked downtown. I don't care if he happened to see us, and I felt fairly certain no one else I knew would be there. The ambiance was understated and quiet as the clock moved past 1:30. The food was what they described as fusion cuisine, when that was the newest new thing. Lots of grilled meats and roasted vegetables on plates swirled in bright colored sauces with indecipherable ingredients. The waiter tucked us in a corner by the window, and since Sam would have to remove his hat now, I asked him to sit facing into the corner. I also told him to take off his hat. Okay, but gosh dang it. Why would you repeat? Why? He asked. It feels good. That phrase was becoming the anthem of our day. To be honest, I don't know. Men just don't wear hats inside, unless they're conservative Jews. It's etiquette. You're also supposed to tip your hat to a lady. I saw his puzzled look and demonstrated with his cap. He took it from me and repeated the gesture, those bright green eyes twinkling into mine. He was having a very good time, and so was I. We were still looking at the menu when the waiter brought champagne. I started to object, and then thought, why not? Wasn't this a special day? Sam sniffed at his glass. It's champagne, I said, a kind of wine. People usually serve it for special occasions because it's expensive, at least if it's any good. And it has bubbles, as you see. Sam nodded, examining them close up and then sniffing again. He looked at me uncertainly. Try it, I said, but don't drink it too quickly. It's not like water. He took a sip and wrinkled his nose. It's nothing like water, he said, with obvious distaste. He put down the flute and took a swallow from the water goblet. Do people like it? I mean, do they prefer champagne to water? For flavor, yes, and also for the effect. What effect? After a while, it makes you feel kind of relaxed and warm and mellow. I always feel relaxed and warm and mellow. At least I did when I was a cat. Well, you can drink whatever you want, I said. What would you like to eat? He lifted his menu again. I don't understand some of this writing. They don't seem to have friskies. Just a brilliant, brilliant joke. Good on you. Such strong writing. Thank God. They don't usually serve former cats, I said. You might like the salmon or the grilled ahi. It's like tuna. His face lighted. Yes, that. But when the dish arrived, he was less pleased. This doesn't look like tuna, he said. It's not the right color. It doesn't smell the same. I won't like it. You haven't tried it, I said. He looked resolute. Look, I said. I am so fucking tired of the word said. This is actually better than what's in the can. Tuna is a kind of fish. What you get in the can has been processed, cooked, and packed in oil and canned. It's a long way from the fish. What's in front of you has been cut raw right off the fish and cooked just a very little bit. Live food, he said. I winced. Not exactly, but closer to the living creature than tuna in a can. He sniffed the plate again. The cats who live outside told me that cats who live inside eat dead food. They said that, and they laughed. Well, actually, they sneered. They said food was no good if it didn't have a little blood in it. If it wasn't rare, I provided my interpretation. This tuna is rare. Try it. Just in case he forgot his new table manners, I picked up his fork and held it out for him. He began to eat, giving me a moment to attend to the duck confit I had ordered for myself. When I looked up, the tuna was gone. I could have more, he said, and before I could respond, he was waving at the waiter. More tuna, he said. Excuse me, the waiter said. Was the lunch unsatisfactory? No, Sam said firmly. I want more tuna, and leave a little blood in it. I saw the waiter's expression, but I decided not to intervene. If Shadow was going to live in the world as a man, he'd have to make his own way sooner or later. You should eat the vegetables too, I said, after the waiter was gone. Humans need to eat them. And by the time he was finished the second serving of ahi, most of the vegetables were gone as well. He didn't touch his champagne, so I switched our glasses and finished it. It was a $19 glass, after all. Money doesn't get old if you waste it. The waiter offered dessert. I suggested we share an apple tart with ice cream and ordered some decaf coffee for both of us. Like everything else that was set before him, these were thoroughly sniffed. I recognize the smell, he said. You make it in the afternoon. That's how I always know that supper will be coming fairly soon. You put something white in it out of the refrigerator. I smoothed the hairs on the back of my neck. Gross. Cream, I said, showing him the little pitcher. You should probably try it plain first, then add cream and maybe sugar. While he fiddled with his coffee, I took a bite of the tart. This is good, I said. You should try it. Is it okay if I don't like coffee? Oh, well, I said. I'm not sure they'll let you stay in San Francisco if they find out, but as far as I'm concerned, yes. The man of my dreams looked puzzled and a little upset, so I touched his hand again. It's a joke. There are 30 coffee houses per square block in San Francisco, all of them vying to see who can serve the bitterest French roast. I was supposing that the city's fathers would be unhappy with a citizen who doesn't like coffee. That's all. City fathers, he said. French roast? Before he could ask, I put a bit of tart and ice cream on his spoon and offered it to him. Try this. He leaned forward and opened his mouth, sniffing barely before he slid the spoonful onto his tongue and swallowed it. An expression of delight exploded across his face. Mm-hmm. He grabbed the spoon from me and dispatched the rest of the ice cream in 3 bites. Laughing, I waved to the waiter and ordered him a bowl all of his own. While he ate, I explained that French roast was a way of preparing coffee beans to make a beverage. I listed several kinds of roasts and beans, and what I saw as their relative merits. By the time I turned to the city fathers, he had almost finished the bowl and was slowing down to savor the last bites. City fathers is an old expression, I said. There really aren't any people who are actually fathers of the city, but there are a few people, almost always men, who are sort of in charge. Like the earth spirits, he said, except many of them are women. It seemed better not to ask. More like Gavin Newsom and Willie Brown and Michael Tilson Thomas, I said. No mothers? He said, instinctively using the napkin to wipe his mouth, which was smeared with cream. You're damn right it is. Well, nowadays there are a few, but we don't call them city mothers. Interesting, he said, his eyes narrowing for the first time in an inscrutable look that was uncannily like my former cat's. Cats, you know, are led by the 5 mothers. When I asked for the bill, the waiter... We're just gonna skip past that? What? We're getting all of this cat lore up in here. I gotta know. I gotta get these deets. There's a test at the end of this. When I asked for the bill, the waiter just smiled. By that, a man I recognized as the manager came over. Sir? I'm sorry, let's change our voice. Let's see, what do we want to do? Sir? He said, practically turning his back to me. He hesitated. I'm such a fan, you know. I have DVDs of most of your films. He left a pause where Sam was supposed to thank him for all his kind remarks and offer an autograph. I hope you enjoyed your meal. Sam smiled. I've never had tuna like that before, with the blood still in it, he said, his face reflecting his pleasure. And ice cream is wonderful. It feels so good. Going down, the manager finished for him. And you, madame? He asked. Why did it do a new paragraph for the same... Oh my god. And you, madame? He asked, turning just a bit and glancing sideways over his shoulder. It was very good, I said. I'll be handling the check today. Lunch is my treat. Oh, not at all, the manager said, bowing to Sam. It's our privilege to serve you, and we hope you will return frequently. Please consider our dining room your own. Well, thank you, Sam said, offering his hand. We have a very nice dining room, though. You can see the park from it. I stood, which wasn't easy, as the manager seemed to have been frozen in place by Sam's response. I gave him a small nudge. I'm afraid we have to go. I said it forcefully enough that Sam apparently understood me perfectly, and soon we were back on the street. I don't know why you were so terrified about letting me leave the house, Sam was saying, as I tried to decide where to go next. Everyone is so nice. I can understand why you're always going out. People are so friendly to other people. They don't always like cats. That's not exactly true, I said. People can be very nasty to each other. They think you're a celebrity, so they want to please you. I had never been downtown for so long without spending money. Sam put his arm around my shoulder and started to walk towards Grant Street. What's a celebrity? Someone who's famous for some reason. The man you look exactly like is an actor. Other celebrities are politicians or TV stars. Everybody wants to be near them, to be like them. So places like the store and restaurant, they think if you wear their clothes or eat their food, everybody else will. They'll make a lot of money. Not if they... Oh, he said with a burst of understanding. We don't pay, but other people do. Exactly, I nodded. That's why we really have to figure out a way to make you look less like this particular actor, so people aren't always fussing over you. Fussing is bad? Fraud is bad. And that's what we could be charged with if somebody discovers that the real fellow was somewhere else today, making a movie in Jakarta, for example, when their eyes told them he was shopping and lunching in San Francisco. As we walked, I had put my arm around his waist, so when I turned to look up at him, we were in a half embrace, and he turned into a full hug. I like being a man, he said. Going outside is lots of fun. I felt his nose against my neck, and then his lips, and his tongue. For just a second, I pulled him closer, and then I stopped. We shouldn't be doing this. Why not? We've done it before. You like it. But that was at home. That was in private. The man of my dreams was still holding me close. Doing this, hugging and kissing, well, you know it can lead to doing other things. Things that involve being naked and, well, things people wouldn't do on the street. Having sex? Shh! I said, noticing the heads of passerbys turning in our direction. Why do you think hugging and kissing leads to that? Well, it just does, I said, using all of my determination to push him away. We came here to shop. That's what we need to do. Okay, he said, if that's what you want. Of course, what I wanted had nothing to do with it. You need some clothes, I said, but I think it would be safer if I pay for them this time. So you're going to go to a place that's not very expensive. I'm going to put you in a dressing room and pick stuff out for you just to try on. I don't want you to speak to anyone. If a salesman comes in, just hide your face and tell him your wife is taking care of you. The strategy worked very well. The big downtown Gap was just around the corner. As we entered the store, I grabbed a set of sweats in a bright green extra large off the nearest table and went directly to the dressing rooms, sticking Sam in the very last one. Try these on, I said, and I'll be back. Holding the sweats at arm's length, Sam had practically closed his eyes. They're awfully bright, he said. You don't have to always wear gray and black, I said. I had thought the green would match his eyes. But I like gray and black, spoken like a true emo. So that's what I collected. Black Dockers and gray golf shirts, gray corduroys and black turtlenecks, a black and gray sweatsuit, 2 sweaters, 1 gray and 1 black pajamas in a row, black socks and t-shirts. Along the way, 2 salesmen stopped me to ask if I was finding everything I needed. I said yes, thank you, and moved on. I told Sam to put his hat and sunglasses back on, and wait for me outside while I paid for the things. As I left the store, gratefully passing some of the bundles to Sam, I felt less guilty, having now spent several $100s to outfit my house guest. On a side street off the square, I dropped another 100 or 2 on running shoes. The man who helped us spoke very little English. Sam's disguise was adequate. A great review.